hold up. Not everyone thinks this is genius. I reached out to Dr. Sarah Chen, a former chip architect at AMD who now runs an independent AI consulting firm, and she had some brutal things to say about this deal. Here's what she told me. This is NVIDIA panic buying their way out of a problem they created. They bet everything on GPUs, and now they're realizing specialized chips are eating their lunch. But here's the issue. Groq's architecture is fundamentally unscalable. It works great for demos, but try running it at Google-level scale with billions of requests per day. The whole thing falls apart. NVIDIA just spent $20 billion on a science project that might never work in production. Now, I pushed back on her. I said, but Sarah, the benchmarks are incredible. 877 tokens per second. And she laughed. She actually laughed at me. But then she said those benchmarks are cherry-picked. Run Groq on real-world workloads with mixed model sizes, with actual user patterns, with network latency, with all the missenses of production systems, and suddenly those numbers drop by 60 to 70%. Plus, Groq's chips are insanely expensive to manufacture. That SRAM costs 10x more than regular memory. NVIDIA might have just bought the world's most expensive paperweight. Ouch. But here's what's interesting. I also talked to 3 former Groq engineers who made me promise not to use their names because of NDAs, and 2 of them echoed similar concerns. One told me we had major scaling issues we never solved. The technology is brilliant for small deployments, but I have serious doubts about whether it can replace NVIDIA's GPUs at data center scale. So maybe this isn't 4D chess. Maybe it's a $20 billion mistake. Okay, real talk time. Let me give you the scenarios where this deal goes horribly wrong, because, if I'm being honest, there's like a 30 to 40% chance this blows up in NVIDIA's face. Here are the nightmare scenarios keeping Jensen Huang up at night. First scenario, the Intel trap. Remember Intel in the 2000s? They dominated CPU's 80% market share, printing money. Everyone said Intel is unstoppable. Then ARM came along with a different approach. Lower power, simpler design, good enough performance. And now, your phone, your tablet. Even your MacBook runs on ARM. Intel's market cap got destroyed. Here's the scary parallel. What if data flow architecture is actually NVIDIA's weakness, not their strength? Wait. What if someone, maybe a Chinese company, maybe Google, maybe some startup in a garage, figures out something completely different? Like photonic chips that use light instead of electricity, or neuromorphic chips that mimic actual brain structures, or quantum processors that make all of this obsolete. NVIDIA just went all-in on one technology. If that technology becomes the Battlemax of AI chips, they're screwed. Second scenario, the scaling wall. Remember that former engineer I mentioned? Here's what keeps me up at night. What if data flow architecture literally cannot scale? Like the laws of physics prevent it. Groq needed 574 chips connected together to run one model. What happens when models get 100x bigger? Do you need 57,000 chips? How do you connect them? How do you keep them synchronized? How do you prevent bottlenecks? Data flow hits a hard scaling limit at, say, 1,000 chips? Then NVIDIA just spent $20 billion on technology that can only handle 25 raw AI models. But by 2027, models will be 10x bigger. Whoops. Third scenario, the regulatory nuke. The FTC isn't stupid. They KNOW this licensing deal is a disguised acquisition. What if in 6 months they say, yeah, no, break it up, or we're filing antitrust charges? Gone. NVIDIA would have to unwind everything, lose billions in the process, and the whole industry would panic. Or worse, what if this deal triggers Congress to pass actual AI chip regulations? Like no company can have more than 40% market share in AI hardware? NVIDIA just painted a target on their back. My prediction, write this down. By March 2027, one of 3 things will happen. Best case, NVIDIA successfully integrates Groq tech and releases H200 LPU chips that genuinely work at scale. Inference costs drop 5x. NVIDIA stock hits $300. I look like an idiot for doubting them. Medium case. The tech works, but has major limitations. NVIDIA quietly shelves most of Groq's architecture and just uses some of the patents. The deal is declared moderately successful, but nobody really talks about it. NVIDIA stock stays flat. Worst case, by Q3 2026, reports leak that Groq's tech doesn't scale as expected. NVIDIA writes off $8 to $12 billion. Class action lawsuits from shareholders. This becomes a Harvard Business School case study on innovation theater and overpaying for acquisitions. I'm putting my money on scenario 2, leaning toward scenario 3. Here's why, okay? Here's my genuinely unique take that I haven't heard anyone else say. This deal isn't about technology at ALL. It's about talent hoarding and ecosystem lock-in. Think about it. NVIDIA didn't just buy Groq's chips. They bought Jonathan Ross, the guy who literally designed Google's TPU, Tensor Processing Unit, before starting Groq. They bought Sunny Madra. They bought the entire engineering team that spent 7 years thinking about inference problems from a completely different angle than NVIDIA. Here's what NVIDIA really bought. They bought the people who could VA built NVIDIA 2.0 for someone else. Imagine if Google or Amazon hired Jonathan Ross tomorrow and said, hey, build us a chip that beats NVIDIA. In 3 to 4 years, they'd have it. Ross already did it once at Google with TPUs. He was doing it again with Groq. NVIDIA just removed that threat permanently for $20 billion. They didn't just buy technology, they bought the future competing technologies that will never exist now. This is like if Michael Jordan bought LeBron James' contract in 2003 and forced him to sit on the bench. Sure, you're paying a lot, but your competition just lost their star player forever. The bigger pattern? This is the part that scares me. I've been tracking NVIDIA's moves for the past 18 months, and there's a pattern. They bought Mellanox, that's networking, for $7 billion in 2020. They tried to buy ARM mobile chips for $40 billion in 2021, but regulators blocked it. They bought Run AI orchestration software for $700 million in 2024. Now they're buying Groq, inference chips, for $20 billion. You see it? They're not just building a chip company. They're building the everything company for AI infrastructure. They want to own the training chips. That's GPUs. It's the inference chips. That's Groq Tech.
The networking Mellanox.
The software orchestration Run AI. The developer ecosystem CUDA. This is the Microsoft strategy from the 1990s. Remember, Microsoft didn't just sell Windows, they owned the OS, the browser, the office software, the developer tools, everything. And it worked. They printed money for 20 years. But here's what happened next. The internet came along and disrupted everything. Google didn't beat Microsoft by making better Windows, they made Windows irrelevant with web apps and search. My controversial prediction, NVIDIA is building a fortress for a war that's already over. By 2028, the breakthrough won't be faster chips, it'll be something that makes chips less important. Maybe AI models that are 1000x smaller, but just as smart, an efficiency breakthrough. Maybe distributed computing where everyone's devices contribute, like Bitcoin mining but for AI. Maybe biological computing using actual neurons. Or some quantum photonic hybrid we can't even imagine yet. When that happens, NVIDIA's $20 billion will look like Blockbuster buying more DVD warehouses in 2005, right before Netflix went streaming. Am I right? I don't know. But I'm putting a time capsule here. December 31st, 2025. Let's revisit this in March 2027 and see if I'm a genius or a fool. What I think you should do, if you're an investor, don't chase NVIDIA here. They're already priced for perfection. If you're a developer, learn Groq's architecture now while it's still available. This knowledge will be valuable regardless of what happens. If you're just a regular person using AI, enjoy the next 2 to 3 years of improving AI. After that, things get ... unpredictable before you go. Try this. Pause this video right now and write down your prediction. What happens to this deal by 2027? Drop it in the comments with the date. In March 2027, I'll come back to this video and pin the person who got closest. Will NVIDIA be proven right? Will this be a disaster? Or will something completely unexpected happen that makes this whole conversation irrelevant? Place your bets. See you in the future. Peace.